If you're relocating to Dubai for the first time, I understand you're probably feeling confused, overwhelmed, you can't find the right information, so much more, right? Well, in this video, I'm going to uncover a bunch of different things for you to listen to that I'm sure will help. From visas to living here for the first time, where to live, long-term renting, schools, financing, investments, and bank accounts. So make sure you stick around to the end, and I look forward to getting into it. What's going on, guys? My name is Joe Butler. As always, I'm bringing you the most informative real estate content in all of Dubai. I help my investors worldwide invest in the best strategic opportunities that the market has to offer. If you want any more information about what we do, go follow the links below. Okay, so the first thing I want to start off with is residency, because that's the most important to live here, okay? Now let's outline what different types of residency you can obtain, all right? Let's start with property residency. We've got the investor visa and the golden visa. The investment visa is basically a 750,000 dirham investment, which allows you 2 years entry-free access into the country. You can also sponsor your immediate family, so your kids, your husband, your wife, your grandparents. These will be eligible to go on the visa, which is the same for the golden visa, except the golden visa is 2 million dirhams and it's a 10-year entry-free access. Now, what this means is that you don't have to come and renew your residency. You've got it for a set number of years depending on the investment that you make. Okay. Now the other types of visa are employment visa. So you might have an employment from a company, they're going to provide you a visa. It's pretty straightforward. And then the other one is basically coming out here and setting up your own business. Once you become a business owner, you can have your own visa as well. This will need to be renewed every 1 or 2 years, depending on how much you pay up front. Okay. And obviously you do need to be here for a certain part of the year to maintain that. Okay. So once you've got your visa, you're probably thinking, all right, well, we get that. Now we need to figure out where we're going to live. Okay. So I'm going to break it down into 2 categories. One, maybe it's you want to go and you're a young guy or young lady, or maybe you're a young family and you want to live in a bit more of a hustle and bustle lifestyle, okay? So let's start with the obvious. Where would you live? Okay, well, a few of my recommendations, because I've done it, all right? Marina, JLT, Business Bay, Dubai Downtown, potentially Emaar Beachfront. These are like a little bit more upmarket, okay? So these are where you will pay more premium rents for like better locations, but you know, you're going to be in a high rise, you're going to be in a good location, lots of retail, where it's all going on and where it's all happening, right? And of course, if you're working in any of those locations, if you've got a job or you know you've got an office in one of these locations or you're setting one up, then it's quite convenient for that, because there's also a bit of commercial, or quite a lot of commercial, around all of these locations. Now, assuming you know you've got the budget for that, that's where I would go to. Okay, it's also good for networking and so forth. But if you're on a bit more of a budget, let's say you want to spend a bit less, still want to have a high quality of life in terms of what your apartment's like, then you want to be looking at areas slightly outside of the city. JVC is a popular one, Arjan, Al Farjan, Sports City, Motor City, Studio City. All of these locations you'll see on the map, they're pretty similar in distance away from each other, and you know you can get much more affordable rent. Now, assuming you're a family that wants to come over here, then I always say you want to be living inside of a community, and the reason for that, again, is that community feel is so important, especially if you're moving from the UK. You know, you want to be around neighbors, you want to be inside of a nice community where you can go on nice walks, you know, and almost like have that feel away from home. And especially if you're coming from somewhere like the UK, all right, well, in Dubai, for 6 months of the year, we get amazing sunshine and the weather's really nice. So you want to take advantage of being able to walk around. For that reason, I recommend a few different locations if you have the budget. Dubai Hills, Jumeirah Islands, Jumeirah Golf Estates, potentially Emirates Hills, that's actually a lot larger budget. Potentially Damac Hills as well, depends on what you want to go for. Now, a bit more affordable would be your Town Square, your Villanova. Townhouses in Damac Hills as well are pretty well priced. And then there are different locations, but I don't want to talk about all of them. But you've got a good idea of where to start. You'll see on the map where these are located. Arabian Ranches as well, how can I forget? Arabian Ranches 1, 2, and 3. 1 is a bit more upmarket, slightly larger villas. Arabian Ranches 2 and 3 are slightly cheaper, depends on what you go for. I'd definitely say Arabian Ranches 3 is the most affordable out of all of them. But of course, you know, that does come with the distance where it is. Okay, so that's kind of where I would recommend you living. Which brings me into my next point, and it's all about renting. Okay, so if you want to come out to Dubai and you want to secure a long-term lease, you need to have an Emirates ID. Okay, so you can't just come to Dubai and go and rent a place for a year. No, you need an Emirates ID. And that means you have to get that by obtaining your visa first. So that's why I mentioned visa first. Once you have your Emirates ID, that will allow you to go into a place and take a contract long term. Now in Dubai, it's not necessarily you take a contract and it's on a monthly basis with the rental, you pay in checks. So once you get your residency, you're allowed to go and set up a bank account, and your bank account will issue you a checkbook. Now when you go and rent a property, okay, you will speak to the agent that you're working with, or if you go directly to a landlord, however you do it, they will want a certain amount of pre-written checks, okay? This is just how it is in Dubai. Don't ask me why we still use the check system, it just is what it is. For example, you may be able to get 6 checks, okay? So 6 payments from the owner. You may only be able to get 4 checks. In some cases, they want 2 checks, and in, I wouldn't say rare cases, but sometimes landlords, especially if they have premium properties where they know there's a lot of demand, they ask for 1 check, so 1 payment, okay? These checks are pre-written out, dated and signed and given to the landlord, and that's his security. So if you don't pay, or let's say, you know, you forget to pay, well, he's got your check. He can go to the bank, okay, and go and cash it in. Now, I don't necessarily always like to do that in terms of, let's say, on checkbooks, okay? You have to write your signature. Sometimes if your signature's wrong, okay, this is a funny one, you have to have your signature right every time, okay? So whatever signature you give to the bank, okay, you have to write it exactly like it is on a check. I mean, it was once like that in the UK, sometimes it's still like that in America, but if that signature is wrong, okay, so if the signature that you sign in the bank is wrong on the signature on the check, your check will bounce. Now, many times in the past when I was living in Dubai, I had a different signature every time, so my checks kept bouncing. So I politely just said to the landlord, I'm going to give you all the checks up front, that's no problem. However, I'm just going to transfer you the money to make my life easier 3 days before the rent's due, and he was okay with that. All right, simple. Schools. Now, I'm not an expert on schools. I have a base understanding, and I'm not here to give you real schooling advice. All is what I know is that your school costs are going to be between sort of 30 and 50,000 dirhams per year, I believe. That might be per term, but it could be per year. Do your research. I don't have children, so I'm not the expert on schools, but I am very aware of I am very aware that families need to be near schools, and that's what I'm more talking about here. So if you are a family, you want to make sure the location where you are is geographically close to where the school is, okay? Now what you need to understand is that there's a lot of families all going to the same place at once, and we do see congestion and traffic and a lot of chaos in the mornings and the evenings when it comes to school runs. So the last thing you want to do is be buying into or renting into a location when you're going to take your kids to school and you're stuck in like 30, 40, 50 minutes of traffic. Now, it's kind of hard to judge, okay, exactly where to go and live to be close to a school, but we do know that some communities are very close to schools, and also sometimes, you know, even in walking or cycling distance. So your kids have the ability to go and walk or cycle to school, which I think is an amazing feeling, okay? Because, you know, in Dubai, you will get very used to just driving everywhere. You know, it's not sort of connected as well as it will be in the future by 2040 with the vision that they're looking at building. So right now, you've got to drive everywhere, essentially, okay? So if you can get somewhere close to a school, or even close enough for your kids to ride or cycle, great. If you can't, what I recommend is if you find a location that fits your budget, you like the place, go and look on Facebook, okay? Go into community groups, because a lot of people create these. Like, for example, Town Square is a prime example. Beautiful community, great for children, but terrible in the morning for traffic, okay? Now, it's only terrible between school run time, because after that, it eases up. All right, so that means that, you know, you've got to play your cards a little bit right. They are improving that, by the way. I've made many videos on Town Square. I think it's a fantastic location, but they are actually improving the road system so that that will ease up. But I know that a lot of people complain about it. So if that's something you want to avoid, then make sure you do your research, go into these Facebook groups. Now, when it comes to investing into Dubai for the first time, this video is not specifically about investing. This is a bit of a general overview. There are plenty of videos on my YouTube to talk about that. But when you are looking at investing, you need to understand that you're either going to buy off plan or you're going to look at ready properties. If you're buying off plan, take note that you will be on a payment plan. This is good for maybe someone who's looking at coming out into Dubai in 2 years or 3 years. And that's your future goal, to come out to the city, live here, you know, and actually start just paying off something gradually. And then when you arrive, your property is ready. Fantastic. I know a lot of my clients do that. And then if you want to move immediately, then go for something ready. But just note this is very important. Okay, because a lot of people don't understand this, right? When it comes to mortgages and financing and residency, just because you're a resident from an investor visa or just setting up your company does not mean you can get eligibility for a residency mortgage straight away. No. It takes time to build up your credit for the banks to look at your reports and trust you, okay? So if you just set up a business, it's going to take you at least 6 to 8 months to have a good track record of paying yourself, all right, before the banks will even consider you, all right? Sometimes up to 1 year, even up to 2 years, all right? Well, it's up to 2 years if you want the full 80% if you set up your own business, because they need to do an audit, they need to look at your bank history, they need to look at your company, where's it generating money from, okay? But then also, if you are coming out to Dubai, all right, and you know you want to be a resident, okay, it might be considering to take a non-residency mortgage, okay? Why is this? Because they're going to look at all of your financials from where you live, whether that's the UK, Europe, America. They're going to take all of that into consideration because you have no track record in Dubai. And a lot of these are low document mortgages. Now, actually, Mashreq, I believe, okay, now I don't know how long this will last for and if it will be a continuous thing, are actually offering 65% mortgages, okay, for expatriates that are non-residents, all right, which means you can almost get that sort of like limit what you can get as a resident, which is 70 or 80%. 65% is pretty good, and it's a low document mortgage. Okay, so that's kind of the general idea of investing. And the final one, what I'm going to mention, is banking. So it's highly recommendable, of course, that you set up your banks when you get your residency. So there are a few different banks to choose from in Dubai. Now, when you become a resident, if you want something quick and easy, I really recommend Wio Bank, W-I-O. Wio Bank is just like your Revolut or your Monzo bank account, super easy. I got mine set up in 10 or so minutes. Now, moving forward, it is worth getting a more credible bank as well, like your Emirates MBD or your Mashreq Bank, something sort of more locally registered in Dubai. So once you have that, that's pretty much everything you need to know. Now, as always, guys, if you do need any more information about, investing in Dubai, then that is what we are experts at. We help investors worldwide get access to the market and give the most credible and up-to-date information possible. So if you want any more information about how you can work with us, all what you need to do is follow the links below. Me or my team will be in touch and we'll book a call and have a chat there. All right? Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much.